Thank you for your prayers. I was glad Jeff Cody could come in and get the screen going, and I didn't even have to, I can't see the screen from where I sit, but I knew that it was on when I saw people smile. So I knew we were back in action. We have these technical difficulties and glitches every now and then, and Kathy Stickney is our AV minister today, and this was her first time, so she was probably like, oh no! So we're ready to go. You'll be fine. The next time will be even easier. Not to worry, not to worry. As we gather during this Advent season, we are watching John the Baptist, and John the Baptist has a message to give to the whole world. And when we gathered last week, we heard from the Gospel of Luke that John spoke his message in a specific time. And Luke was very specific about that time. Who was the governor of Judea? Who were the tetrarchs? Who was the high priest? And I ask that we think about whose message John is giving in this time and in this age. And that message is to us. And John the Baptist is very specific about the encouragement that he gives the people that come up to him to be baptized. He tells all the crowd that they're to share what they have. Cloak, food, everything. They're supposed to share what they have. And that's a message to us. And then he was specific to these soldiers, wasn't he? Don't abuse your power. Boy, isn't that a message that we need to hear today? Don't abuse power. And John speaks clearly, and the way he's speaking and the advice that he's giving is to prepare us to hear the message of Jesus, to prepare our hearts for Jesus. And he says, I know who I am, and I know who I'm not, and I'm not the person that you think I am. I am not the Christ. There is somebody that's coming that's going to give a more powerful message than I have. Love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. Welcome the stranger, and it's a powerful message. And John's trying to prepare a place for us. We need to ask that same question as the crowds did, as the tax collectors did, as the soldiers did. What are we to do? What are we to do? And we live in times that are just as rough as the times that the Israelites lived when Rome occupied their country, because the soldiers were abusing them and causing trouble, and the tax collectors were collecting more money than they needed to collect so that they could line their own pockets. And we live in troubled times. We're just looking at the fear level that people have in our own country after the events in Paris and San Bernardino. And just reading the paper and looking at what's happening is incredible. People are buying more guns. They're now selling bulletproof backpacks. And sounds like we're living in fear and not walking in faith. And that's not what God asks of us. If I were to give a quick answer, what are we to do? What are we to do? My quick answer would be, live in mercy. Live in mercy. And both of those words are key. Both of those words are important. Both of those words are necessary for us to hear. Mercy and live. We need to live, and each one of us has been given a certain amount of time on this earth and in this time. And when we live, we need to live lives that show the mercy of God. That we need to bring to a world that's badly hurting a healing balm that encourages. We have a certain amount of time on this earth. And are we speaking words of affirmation? Are we speaking words of encouragement? Are we speaking words of comfort? We hear those words that were read today. Rejoice. Rejoice, daughter Jerusalem. And we hear those words of encouragement from Paul to let no anxiety drag us down. And it comes from what kind of voices we listen to. Who is the prophet in your mind? Who is the prophet in your heart? Whose words are you listening to? There are many talking heads that we can hear who are speaking words of fear and speaking words of greed and speaking words of hatred. Many that are false prophets. And the prophet Jesus Christ speaks to us, speaking words of peace, speaking words of love, speaking words of mercy. What voices are you listening to? And you know, we have people that speak words of discouragement and despair around us. And I tell you, when you hear somebody that's always criticizing, walk away. Walk away. It's not the voice of God. It's not the voice that is calling us to live the way God invites us to live. It's important that we recognize what a difference we can make in the world. I'm not sure. Are we able to show the clip? Are we going to try it? Okay. Okay, we're going to try. I just, good luck. I don't know if this is going to work. If it does, I'm just showing you how simple it is to bring the mercy of God. Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy. Oh, okay. I think we got that far last week, too. Oops. Not going to happen? Oh, you're watching it. Oh, okay, good. All right. But you can't show it to us. What? Well, anyway. Yes, I can remember what I did. Anyway, Teresa, don't lie to me. Okay. So anyway, what we're trying to say and do in this is the fact that the smallest kindness and act of mercy we can give is very important. Every time I journey through life, I'm trying to make sure that I'm outside of myself. For example, this Thursday, after I finish Mass, I'm off for the day. This isn't up there, I'm just going to share. And I know I had a ton of things to do, a lot of things. But I also know that the priest that I was in Haiti with, Father Charlie, is living in a nursing home, a retirement home. And his sister is too old to go out to get him to do visit or whatever. So once a month, I always go and I visit him. And I take him out for lunch. And he's wheelchair bound, so it's an effort to get him in the wheelchair and then to get him out of the wheelchair and into the car. And yet Thursday he wanted to go out for Chinese food. And we had a wonderful lunch together. And the reason he enjoys my visit is because for 47 years of his life he spoke Creole. He spoke the language of the people in Haiti. And now he's with priests that are from Japan and from other Spanish-speaking nations, and there's nobody there that he can share the language that he really became his first language. So here we are in a Chinese restaurant speaking Creole and laughing and enjoying one another's company. And we were there for 2 hours and a half, and I thought the lady that was waiting on us was ready to throw us out. And she came over and she said, "You two look like you're having a wonderful time." She said, "I'm glad you feel comfortable here." Boy, did she pour out mercy into my heart and to Charlie's heart, because we thought we were upsetting her. Those simple words were words that were powerful. Ready? Okay. There's no sound. Someday we'll be able to do this. In any case, I'm going to close with this story to invite you to pay attention to the voices that you hear and the prophets. An old Indian grandfather decided to share wisdom with his grandson. And he said to his grandson, "Inside of us are two wolves that are fighting inside us. They're fighting inside each of us. One wolf," he said, "is the wolf of peace." The list of those who are happy here. And then listed by people from our family, so that I can pay them a visit. Oh, okay, here's our first one. Second name on the list. Well, we're back in the car, and I'm on my way to Countryside Rehab Center, and we've got a... Forget it. Just forget it. Oh. Someday we're going to become technical experts. I don't even know how to turn on the computer, never mind. It's Wednesday, and I'm on hospital Catholic chaplaincy until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I'm responsible for providing the sacraments of anointing of the sick for anybody that might be here brought in through emergency or in need of that anointing because of their illness. I'm going into the hospital at this time now to find the names of everybody from our parish who are here, and also those who need to be anointed in ICU. Come on in. Oftentimes you go by the vending machine and there's somebody that says, "Oh, darn it, I don't have change," or they didn't bring their credit card. And so I thought today would be a great day. I'm just going to take a buck to the vending machine so that somebody that goes by might have an opportunity to get something when they don't have any money on them. That'll be a scream. I just wish I could stay around and watch to see what happens. Looking at the list of those who are Catholic here, and they're listed by parish, so I'll be able to find out which people are from our parish so that I can pay them a visit. Oh, okay, here's our first one. Second name on the list. Well, we're back in the car, and I'm on my way to Countryside Rehab Center, and we've got a few parishioners that are there, and I visit them every week. And but there's one of our parishioners that loves blueberry muffins and coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. So I think I'm going to pick her up a blueberry muffin and coffee. Good morning. Could I have a blueberry muffin and a small black coffee with sugar and milk on the side?
Small hot black coffee, and then you want sugar and milk on the side?
Yes.
Can I get you anything else?
No, and you got the blueberry muffin?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you.
All right, it'll be $3.59. Hold on up.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've never used the drive-thru before. What an experience. Well, that wraps up today's Adventures in Mercy. Stay tuned for next week's Adventures in Mercy. How are you doing with your challenge? I am not going to film another one of these. You're just going to read the bulletin. Let me finish this because this is important for us to journey with. He said that there are two wolves inside of us and they're fighting with each other. And everyone has these two wolves. One wolf is a wolf of peace and love and mercy. The other wolf, he said, that's inside of us is a wolf of hatred and greed and fear. His grandson looks up at him and says, "Grandpa, which wolf will win?" And the grandfather gives a John the Baptist response. He says, "Whichever one you feed." Amen.